While being a kids show can certainly hold a story back, I have a soft spot for ones that treat their younger audience with respect. I think it's important that we point out when a kids show goes above and beyond in both challenges and respects their younger viewers, because they're the ones that grow up to make anime in the future, and on top of that, it can make the series a lot more accessible to older audiences as well. Produced by Studio Madhouse, today I'll be looking at a sci-fi mystery anime series titled Dennou Coil, which was written, directed, and even partly animated by Mitsuo Iso, who has quite the impressive track record for animation. Anyway, let's get right into it today. My name is Keten, and welcome to my review of Dennou Coil. The plot takes place 11 years after the invention of the internet-connected eyeglasses, which, when worn, merged the virtual world with the real world. The story focuses on Yuko, who moves with her family to Daikoku City, where the center of the merging virtual and reality technology resides. From there, she makes new friends and joins her grandmother's investigation agency, where they get a bunch of fun virtual gizmos and are sent to investigate things related to the virtual technology. The story starts fairly simple, with weird viruses infecting virtual pets and a mysterious girl hunting them for some reason, all while the characters get into shenanigans. But the great thing about this show is that it keeps introducing new elements to mix things up and keep it from being formulaic, and as the story progresses, it adds more interesting and heavier plot threads, which I can't say any more on without spoiling. Of course, the plot is fairly easygoing. While it certainly has plenty of action scenes, it's not the focus of the series, instead having a lot of downtime, even having episodes that could be seen as filler. Even in those episodes though, the show could sometimes go into topics that are surprisingly philosophical, even going into the relationship between humans and virtual creatures, which is also expanded upon later in the series. On top of that, the more easygoing pace allows for more focus on the characters, so it never feels like the story stopped, and with how dramatic the story can get at times, the extra focus on the characters really pays off well, since you really grow to care about them. Speaking of characters, they're a very likable bunch. While they may seem typical at first, they're very rich in personality and are fleshed out considerably with interactions and backdrops. They even develop to an extent, not so much that they seem like completely different people at the end, but enough to realize they've matured in some way. One issue though is that while sometimes they behave very realistically for kids, to the point I swear they were people I knew when I was younger, other times they're weirdly a lot more intelligent and mature for their age. This could just be a difference in culture, but I don't know. Some scenes felt more like I was watching adults talking rather than kids. On the upside though, I love how the writers decide to give the virtual creatures personalities as well. Even if they can't speak, you really get to know them thanks to their actions and interactions with the characters. Back to the story though, one thing I really have to praise this show for is how subtle it is in just about everything it does. It rarely has any long scenes with people explaining things, but rather it explores its themes, establishes its characters, and shows how its technology works through its visuals, which is very impressive and respectable. Not to say the writing is perfect, of course, there's some conflicts in the series that are resolved in ways that seem too convenient, and it has its unrealistic moments here or there. Even so, one thing I should point out is the technology itself, which, while certainly futuristic, it doesn't seem like it's too far off from where we are now. Heck, the recently released Pokemon Go is almost like a prototype to this technology, so it rarely feels unrealistic at all. Even with its flaws here or there, the story is still excellently put together, and explores its themes wonderfully, which is plenty respectable enough for me to say the writing in the series is great. This was definitely a story that begged to be animated. The visual design perfectly complements the premise, making the line between what's real and what's virtual very blurred, which makes the virtual creatures feel more alive and real. Speaking of virtual creatures, their designs are great, ranging from simpler designs like Densuke to more bizarre designs like Oyaji, who gives me serious Mr. Saturn vibes from the Mother series. One thing that's impressive about this show's visuals is its use of CGI. While certainly sticking out, it gives certain virtual things a more unnatural look, which is used both to show when something is virtual instead of real, but also to make certain designs more creepy, such as the Sachi, who commonly chase our protagonists. The environment and aesthetic designs are excellent as well. While having its lighthearted moments in town, there's many scenes with a lot of fog and grey tints to make certain moments more unsettling and mysterious, which goes along well with the story. On top of that, the visual effects are fantastic, using a lot of glitchy cybernetic effects to add to the unnatural looking moments to make them all the more unsettling. As for the animation, it's spectacular. This may be one of the most impressively animated TV series out there. Very fluid, allowing for a lot of body language and expressions, giving the characters more personality, and helps the show to convey information through visual means. It also allows for some fun action sequences. While not the focus, the action can get pretty intense thanks to the fantastic scene composition, visual effects, and movement. Whether it be rival gangs hacking, shooting lasers or cyber missiles at each other, or just running away from programs that want to zap them, it all looks fantastic. The music was done by Tsuneyoshi Saito, and it's fairly melancholic, having a lot of depressing or unsettling tracks, which really helps add to the mysterious atmosphere of the series. It has some lighter and more intense songs to fit other scenes as well, and I have no real complaints with it. Overall, it's beautifully done. The use of ambience in the show also adds to the mysterious and unsettling atmosphere, having a lot of quieter moments with eerie cybernetic sound effects, and I appreciated the show going the extra mile to make certain scenes extra creepy. Voice acting is good overall, but I can't say the kids really sound like kids sometimes. It's not too noticeable, but there are moments where, accompanied by the more mature dialogue, they sound more like adults, but otherwise, it's kept pretty realistic for the most part, and it rarely took me out of a scene. Even with the off-dialogue at times, the series has very impressive presentation, and I have little to no problems with its visuals and sound overall. Absolutely fantastic job. As I said at the start, I have a soft spot for kids anime that treat their audience with respect, and this show is no exception. I was happy to review this title because it goes unnoticed by many, and it really deserves more exposure. It's an excellently crafted show both in writing and presentation. It challenges kids to think more than most, and offers plenty of subtle and heavier themes for adults to enjoy as well, and I highly recommend it. If you've seen this show, let me know what you think of it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.